Is Fiction Profits Academy legit? I've already made 2 videos about this, but there are some questions that people are still asking. So this time I'm going further. I'm going to talk about things that I haven't said on camera before. Things like if this is still a viable business model for 2026, what it actually costs to get started, what happens when a student doesn't succeed, how the FPA refund process works, including where it hasn't always gone smoothly, and what the free training actually is before you click on it. If you watch my other videos and you're still not sure, this one's for you. But first, some people watching this are wondering if I'm just a face that someone hired to sell a program. I get why that crosses your mind. There are a lot of people out there promoting courses they have no real stake in. Spokespeople who show up, say the right things, and go home. So let me tell you who I actually am. In 2013, I was a full-time yoga teacher, and I was teaching more than 20 classes a week, making about $3,000 a month. And I had a son who was a year and a half old, and I was in a lot of debt. And my worst moment was standing at the grocery store checkout with my baby and my credit card got declined. I just never forgot how that felt. I was embarrassed, defeated. I was doing everything I could and it still wasn't enough. So that night I was on my laptop searching for a way out, and that's how I found KDP Publishing. I started with nonfiction and I made a little bit, but then I realized that romance was completely dominating the Amazon bestseller charts. So I switched genres. I hired ghostwriters and I published books under pen names. And that's when things really got moving. People in publishing groups online started asking me how I was doing it, and helping people learn something that was already changing my life felt completely natural. Now, I was 39 years old when I started FPA way back in 2015. And a few years in, I went all in. No more yoga, no more backup plan. My business partner Roy and I, we were both fully committed. And for a while, we were spending more than we were bringing in, and we watched our personal money disappearing. I remember one specific conversation that Roy and I had. I said, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And luckily, Roy talked some sense into me, and I'm so glad he did. I want you to know that that happened because I think sometimes people see where FPA is now and assume that it was always that way. And it wasn't. My name is on this, my face is on this channel. I'm a mom who built this from a declined grocery store card and late nights on a laptop. There is no version of this where I fake it, and everything keeps standing. I know this question is sitting in the back of a lot of people's minds. Between AI flooding the market and Amazon changing how the platform works, is KDP Fiction Publishing still a real opportunity in 2026? Yes, Amazon made significant changes to its algorithm in 2024 and 2025, and for years the old system rewarded whoever could cram the most keywords into their title. And publishers figured this out fast. You see titles like billionaire romance, bad boy CEO, alpha male, second chance love story, just keyword after keyword after keyword. And it worked until it didn't. So the platform got flooded with low quality books, just gaming the system. Readers would buy them expecting one thing and get something completely different. Bad reviews, returns, Amazon noticed. So they changed the rules. The new system doesn't just look at your keywords anymore. It watches how your book actually performs with real readers. It watches for consistent daily sales, click-through rates, and how long someone spends on your book page before deciding, as well as verified reviews. And it watches all of that for a full 30 days after you publish, not just the first 72 hours of your launch. That is a harder bar to clear, but it also weeded out a lot of people who were gaming the system, which means there's more room now for people who are actually building something real, not less. Because you're watching this, you probably belong in that category. So it's good news for you. Then there's AI. Amazon now requires you to disclose if AI was used in creating your book content, your covers, or your translations. And not doing that can get your account suspended. What FPA teaches is to either use ghostwriters or to use AI for book content, but you have to be transparent about any AI involvement in the process. And that will keep your account safe and your catalog standing. And here's why fiction and romance specifically hold up better than other KDP categories right now. Romance readers are just not casual browsers. Some of them read a new book every single night. And when they find a series they love, they read everything in it. They join email lists. They show up on a launch day. And that reader loyalty creates a catalog that keeps generating royalties and an audience that actually wants to hear from you again. A nonfiction reader might just buy one book on a topic and be done. A romance reader wants the next one the moment that they finish the last one. Is this harder than it was in 2019? Yes, because the shortcuts are gone. But most of the people who were using shortcuts, they're gone too. What's left is room for people who are willing to build something real. And that's what we build FPA around. Not shortcuts or tricks that stop working the moment that Amazon updates its rules, but a system that's designed to hold up because it's built on what actually moves readers. So let me walk you through what you actually get when you join FPA. There are 6 modules, each built in a logical sequence. Module 1 is getting started. You'll get a clear publishing roadmap and you'll choose your path. And we do some real work on the mindset and goal setting side, because how you think about this is going to determine whether you stick with it or you quit at the first hard part. Module 2 is where you actually create your books. You'll learn how to build your lead magnet, which is a free short story that you give away to start building your email list. How to choose your niche, pick the right tropes, create your story outlines, hire writers if you want, hire editors, work with AI tools. This module alone is where most of the book creation knowledge lives. Module 3 is building your brand. So titles, pen names, cover research, the cover itself, blurb writing. This is where your book stops being a manuscript and starts being a product that sells. Module 4 is the business infrastructure. So we cover setting up your KDP account, your website, your email system, newsletter swaps, all of it. So this is the stuff that keeps the business running. Module 5 is how you launch and sell. Keywords, categories, getting your book live on Amazon the right way. Author Central, your launch plan, how to get reviews, paperbacks, box sets. Module 6 is advanced strategies. We cover Facebook ads, ad budgets, advanced promotions, what to do when a launch doesn't go as planned, how to build a publishing pipeline so you're not starting from scratch every time. The course has been 10 years in the making. We've updated it, refined it, and added to it every time the platform changed or we learned something new from working with students. But of course, we don't stop there. We understand that building a business is not easy, and that's why we have group coaching calls 5 days a week. These calls are live. Students bring their actual questions or their concerns, and our coaches provide personalized help. We tackle problems like blurbs, so sales descriptions that aren't converting, or what to do if a writer missed the brief entirely, or what to do if a launch stalled out on day 1. So basically any challenge or block that you may have, we work through it on camera in real time. So you can ask questions and get the specific support that you need. And you also learn from watching the other students' problems get solved too. Then there are one-on-one calls. You get 4 total calls with a coach who runs their own KDP publishing business. These are not people who studied KDP publishing. They are active publishers. Some of our coaches have reported earning between $3,000 and $30,000 a month from their own publishing. Of course, that's not what I'm promising you will earn. I'm just telling you who is sitting across from you on those calls. There's also the Facebook community, and it's genuinely active, not a ghost town. So students post questions, coaches respond, and students chime in. And if live calls aren't your thing, the group is there Monday through Friday, and you're not going to get lost. And for students who need more help with the tech side or the more advanced book marketing part of the business, there's also the bootcamp. So it's where we hold your hand and build your publishing business with you. We've designed it to be the fastest path to building a 5- and 6-figure publishing business. So we do accountability check-ins, developmental edits of plot lines, milestone reviews, and lots more. So the bootcamp is there for people who want it. Now, I want to talk about the money you'll actually need to get this off the ground. So low cost and no cost are not the same thing. And I want you to enter this business with the right expectations. The first thing you create is a lead magnet. It's a short story around 10,000 words, and it's what you give away for free to start building your email list. You can hire a ghostwriter, and you're looking at about 1 to 2 cents per word. So a 10,000 word book runs about $100 to $200. And recently, we've been leaning heavily into AI in order to make the writing process even cheaper. So you have that option as well. And some publishers create their lead magnets using AI, and it costs them next to nothing. And after your lead magnet, you create your first paid book. So this is the one that you'll actually publish on Amazon. It's around 30,000 words to start. Of course, the costs all depend on who you hire, but in our experience, it's possible to pay around $300 for a 30,000 word book. And then we do $50 for a cover, $50 for editing. So that's about $350, $400 total. And again, if you use AI, your writing costs will be next to nothing, but you're still going to want to get a cover, of course, and get some editing. So there is a little bit of a cost involved. Then there's email list building. So you'll use newsletter swaps through a platform called BookClicker, where you can be featured on other authors' lists. So you can buy some spots to be on those authors' lists, and they usually run between $10 and $60. Again, this is optional to buy this, and those costs depend on the list size and the engagement that those mailing lists have. So before your first paid book goes live, you're looking at a few $100s in production costs, and then not counting the FPA program itself. Now, I want to be direct about who this is not right for. If you need income starting next month, this is not the answer. This model takes 6 to 12 months to build substantial income, and that is not a flaw. That is what building something real, something that compounds over time looks like. So if you have zero financial runway right now, meaning you cannot invest a few $100s without it creating genuine pressure on your household, then please wait. Come back when the timing's better. There's no version of this that works well under that kind of financial stress. Of course, not every student succeeds, and I'm not going to put that entirely on the student. There are two types of non-results. The first kind is the student who didn't show up, didn't open the course, didn't come to the calls, didn't do the work. That's not a program failure, and I totally get it. Life gets in the way. Priorities shift. People start things with the best of intentions, and then the moment passes. But you cannot coach someone who isn't there. Nobody can. So the second kind is harder to talk about. It's the student who did show up, did the work, followed the steps, and still didn't get traction. That is a completely different conversation, and FPA owns part of that. So in some of those cases, people joined FPA expecting to generate income within a few weeks, but this is a 6 to 12 month build. If someone needed money last week, FPA was never the right fit for them, and we should have been clear about that up front before they enrolled. We've gotten better at catching that mismatch before someone joins. We weren't always this good at it. There is a difference between someone who followed the process and didn't get traction and someone who never opened the course. One is a real conversation about what went wrong and what we can do differently, and the other isn't really a failure of the program. So I'm not saying any of this to minimize anyone's experience. I'm saying it because being vague about it builds less trust than naming it directly, and you deserve a straight answer. I want to talk about the refund process. We have an action-based guarantee. That means if you do the work and you can show that you did it, there's a path to a refund if it didn't work out. That policy is real, but I'll also tell you this. The process of actually getting that refund has not always gone smoothly for every student who qualified for it, and that's on us. There were cases where communications broke down, where a student who had done everything right had to follow up too many times to get a resolution. We looked at that. We made changes to how we handle those situations. So the process is better now. Still isn't perfect, but it is better. If you're watching this and you're in that position right now, that is, you followed the steps, you have the documentation, and you're not getting traction on a resolution, then email our support team directly. The link is in the description. Don't go through comments on Facebook groups. Email support to let us know. So some people have said that our free training is misleading, that it's really not free if there's a pitch at the end. And I hear that, and I want to address it directly. The training is genuinely free. You don't need a credit card to access it, and there's nothing to cancel. You just watch it and you learn from it. And you decide what to do next. Is there an invitation to apply to FPA at the end? Yes. Maybe we should have been more upfront about that before you clicked. So here it is upfront before you click anything. So again, the training's a walkthrough of the publishing system and how you can quickly and easily get started with this and have ebooks up on Amazon making money for you in the least amount of time. Then at the end, you'll see what FPA is and how to apply if it feels right for you. That's the whole thing. No surprises. The link is below. If you've been on the fence about FPA or you've been trying to figure out whether this is real, I hope this video gave you what you actually needed to decide. So the link to the free training is below. Take a look. If it feels right, I'll see you there.